Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Sivir basic guide. Now it's been over a week since Sivir released, but I wanted to really learn her and get to know her before I did a basic guide or a complete guide on her. Of course, the complete guide is going to be coming up tomorrow, but of course first we're going to cover Sivir in her basic guide. So, of course, Sivir is the latest marksman to release, of course at the time of recording of this video, and she has relatively short range compared to other marksmen. So aside from, if we don't count Neela, Lucian and Samira have the shortest range, and then the next shortest range is going to be Sivir. So she has really short range, and she has a front to back kind of playstyle. However, she has a very unique mechanic where she uses her W to ricochet and bounce off of champions, so she normally attacks front line. So while it is really similar to other ADCs, at the same time it is also kind of different depending on which other ADC you're playing, and it certainly took quite some time to get used to her. And she has a lot of utility with her ulti especially, and she also has safety with her spell shield, so it's a really fun and interesting champion to play. But with all that said, as usual, we're going to be jumping straight into the practice tool to of course cover what she is all about. Alright, so into our practice tool. Let's first, of course, gain ourselves all of our levels. I've actually come to the jungle here for this one because we're gonna have to spawn quite a number of enemy dummies, so we are gonna have to, head over to somewhere where they're not gonna get constantly whacked by my tower. Alright, so first up, let's cover her passive. So her passive is really simple. Basically, whenever you attack someone, you basically gain movement speed. So basically, you can see I hit this guy, I get movement speed, I hit him again, I get movement speed. Your abilities also will do that, by the way. So if, for example, I Q, I'm gonna get movement speed as well. So that's basically her passive. Really easy, really simple. And speaking of her Q, which I just kind of showed you, is basically this pretty long range skill shot. It's really long considering your auto attack only reaches this guy, but this skill can reach all the way across all of them. So it's a really long range skill. It's obviously a boomerang that goes forward and then back. Basically does damage to everybody it hits. So for example, if I just throw it over like this and it hits like these three people, you can see that they all take the same damage. It doesn't deal any kind of reduced damage, and the damage that it deals actually scales off of your critical strike. So when you have more critical strike, this damage is actually gonna go up, and I believe that it also increases the speed where you toss it out, and it basically decreases the cast time as well. So sort of like, the same treatment as all of the other ADCs like Jinx W or Caitlyn Q, that sort of deal. And yeah, so next up we have her W, which is basically her bread and butter. Now, first thing the W does is it gives you attack speed. But the second more important thing it does is, this is basically what makes Sivir Sivir. It basically, when you hit your W, it's gonna bounce to all the enemies nearby. So I'm just gonna show you one W. So for example, I hit my W, I auto one time, you can see it's bouncing all over the place. I auto again, it's bouncing all over the place. Basically, it can bounce to one enemy up to 2 times, and obviously it's just going to randomly bounce all over the place depending on who's around. It can bounce to minions and monsters as well, so you can clear jungle relatively quickly. Now, I'm just going to show a demo here, but I don't have any items, so this is not going to be quick at all. So for example, I auto the raptors, so you can see that it's just bouncing all over the place. So we can see we clear the raptors pretty easily. Of course, we're level 15, but we have no items, so it kind of balances out. Another thing about the W is that your W is a auto attack reset. So you can basically auto to get up to auto attacks really quickly. Of course, if you simply just W and begin auto attacking, you have, of course, your auto attack animation, which is a lot slower. So if you want more burst damage on a single target, you can auto and immediately reset the auto attack timer with your W. So next up is going to be the spell shield. So spell shield is this one on your W. So basically what it is it gives you a shield for like, I think about 2 seconds, where if you get hit by, or it's actually 1.5 seconds, where if you get hit by any hostile ability, could literally be any ability, could be CC, it could be like a Ezreal Q, any kind of ability, you get hit by it, it's gonna pop the shield. And let me see if I can get the AI to actually just come over, but it's gonna be a bit challenging. So we're just gonna see if we can get the AI to come over and use a hostile ability on us. I'm not even sure who the AI is, but basically, if you don't, let me put off the 0 cooldown here. If you don't get hit by anything, it's actually gonna refund half of the cooldown. But if you do actually get hit by something, it's going to pop. Obviously, it's gonna go on full cooldown. You're gonna heal for a little bit, and it's gonna proc your passive. So here we have a Zed. Let's see if we can get him to hit us with something. He's actually just running away. So let me maybe take a little bit of tower damage. So you can see the healing. Alright, spell shield, hit me. Yeah, so you can see how it works. So you can even spell shield the Zed out, by the way. Yeah, so obviously we got really low there, but you kind of seen how the spell shield works there. You can see that basically instead of taking damage, we are basically just avoiding it and healing, and it does work on, as you guys seen there, certain abilities like Zed's ulti, so that kind of counters Zed in a way. Of course, it can work on things like Caitlyn ult, like if she's trying to ult you when you're 1 HP, that sort of deal. So her final ability obviously is going to be her ultimate. So ultimate is again a relatively straightforward ability. So basically, let me spawn some allies here. So basically, when you pop the ultimate, it's going to give you and your allies movement speed. So whoever's inside this blue circle is going to get movement speed. You can see that it's kind of showing the animation below them, and it's basically a kind of like a team-wide ghost. So when you pop it, let's just show the movement speed difference. So we're running like that. We pop it, you can see we're gonna instantly run faster. Now the movement speed is not a lot. You can see the movement speed here is 20% bonus movement speed. So if you take a look at Ghost, for example, you can see that Ghost actually gives you it actually doesn't say, but 25% after the burst. So if you get the Ghost, you can see that huge movement speed increase. But with your ulti, when you actually pop it, you do feel a little bit of movement speed increase, but it's not a lot. So what else it does is it actually reduces the cooldown of your ability. So let me remove the 0 cooldown. So if I use my Q, you can see that the cooldown is a little bit less. So like that, once again, you can see that the cooldown is less. Let's see how much it does. Yeah, 40% cooldown reduction. So the last part that I have not yet covered is what you basically saw there, is the morale. So what morale is basically when you pop the ulti, whenever you do damage, you can see I'm gonna get 1 stack here, 2 stacks here. If I bounce like that, it's still only gonna count for 1 stack, 2 stack, 3 stacks, 4 stacks, 5 stacks. So when we reach 8 stacks, it's gonna reactivate. And basically, when it reactivates, it's gonna give you, I believe, it's gonna give you 30% bonus movement speed instead of 20, and also each stack of what's Zed doing here? All right, he's taking down the tower. Also, each stack gives you AD. So here, another way to fast charge it is to Q through everyone. It charges it really fast. So it gives you 2 AD per stack. So at maximum of 8 stacks, you actually get an extra 16 AD, I believe. Or it's actually not 2 AD, it's 4 AD. Actually, the AD you get scales off of the ability rank. So it starts off at 2, then it goes to 3, then it goes to 4. So you actually get 4 times 8 when it is a rank 3 ultimate. That's like 32 extra AD, which is like half of an item, or like 2/3 of an item, which is, of course, really good. So that is pretty much it for Sivir's abilities. Pretty straightforward for the most part. Let me just disable this Zed because he's getting a bit annoying. And let's now cover her leveling order. So level 1, you actually have 2 options. You can either go with your Q or you can go with your W. Now by default, you should always go with Q, because Q, obviously you have a really long range with Q, and you can poke enemies down, you can clear minions with Q. However, the only time you want to take W is when there's a fight. So if, for example, you and your support versus like the enemy bot lane immediately get into a fight, you want to instantly take W and pop the W, because overall, if you're getting off a couple of attacks, your W is going to end up doing more damage than your Q, and plus you're also getting the attack speed. So that's going to be more crucial than your Q. But otherwise, you always want to take Q level 1, and then W level 2, and then your E level 3. Some people might be a bit greedy and not take the spell shield. In my experience, it's always going to be good to take the spell shield. Then you want to actually max your Q first, of course taking out whenever available, and then logical order is maxing W second, of course taking out when available, and then you max your E last. Just like that. So next up, let's talk about some combos. Now obviously Sivir does not really have any combos. Like, she's really straightforward. You basically Q whenever you can, /1, 2, you want to basically pop the W and auto enemies whenever its W is off cooldown basically, unless there's only one enemy and no one to jump to. Even so, you still want a W for the attack speed. You want to spell shield when you're expecting a hostile ability, or if you're just running in, you might want to spell shield as well to prevent yourself from getting CC'd. And yeah, maybe the only kind of mini, it's not even a mini combo, it's basically if you've already decided that you're going to commit, you want to ult at the beginning. Why? Because you want the AD to stack up and you want your ult charges to stack up. So if, for example, there's a group of enemies there, me and my teammates are committing, we want to instantly pop the ult and just go in. What you don't want to do is you don't want to go in, fight halfway, and then ult in the middle of the fight. There's no point of that. There is, but it's not optimal, right? So you don't wanna be in a situation where, for example, we're not sure if we want to fight. We decide to go in a little bit, and we're whacking all, and alright, okay, we're committing. Let's ult now. No, we don't want to do that. We want to either ult at the start of the fight, or just don't ult in the middle. Like that's not very good at all, right? Okay, so that's like it for the quote unquote combos. But now let's talk about some tips and tricks. So one thing I was wondering when I first started playing Sivir is, champions like Caitlyn, it's honestly more worth to just auto when you're in late game than to use Q. So for Caitlyn, you just want to auto attack, you don't want to Q. So I was testing for Sivir. Is it better to just only auto attack, or should I just Q in between auto attacking like this? So the answer to that is yes, you should Q while you're auto attacking most of the time. So the answer is, if you just purely auto attack, the guy you're focusing, for example, this guy, is going to actually end up taking more damage, and everyone else is going to end up taking a little bit of damage as well. So only using W is going to do more damage to this guy, and these three people that is not my main targets are not going to take as much damage. But if I W and I Q in between, what's actually going to happen is my main target, this guy, takes less damage, but these three people who got hit, or rather not necessarily all three, but whoever got hit by my Q is going to end up taking more damage overall. Now, why is this a good thing? Is because this guy you're focusing is normally going to be the tank. Like maybe let's say this is a Garen or a Darius, and this guy is, let's say, the enemy ADC. So I want to do more damage to this guy, but by just Wing, I'm not going to do as much damage to him than if I W and then I Q in between to get the extra Q damage onto him. So that is pretty much why you should actually Q. So that's kind of the first main, of course, tip and trick I can give you. Second one is you can actually Q flash. So for example, I want to reach this guy. I can Q and flash forward to extend the range of my Q, instead of like this where I would not reach him. From here, I can actually Q and then flash forward to extend the range of Q to hit all of those people. The W auto reset, I have already told you guys. And last thing is the ult. So the ult obviously is a little bit like a team-wide goes. There's a couple of options. So first option is, if they're all running after you and you can't escape, you can of course ult to just run away. Which is a little bit less optimal use of the ult, but if you need to run, you need to run. Secondly, of course, is if you're going in, if you're committing. Now, what you can do is, Sivir's ult is really very strong, because with so much movement speed to your whole team, the enemy team cannot escape. Let's say these are low HP enemies, and we want to run them down. Obviously, you want to quickly ult and just run them down. They cannot escape. Maybe one or two people can escape if they have a lot of movement speed, but if they're slow characters, there's no way they're getting out, because Sivir ult, the movement speed, insane. So, yeah, so that is pretty much going to be it for the Sivir basic guide. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.